Uh, Hi, good evening, Manishri. Thank you for having me here, and good evening to all the audience. My name is Muhammad Anas, and I've been in industry for good 3 decades now. I started my career from Wimpy's currently, and then I have worked the way up, being associated with companies like Pizza Hut, Domino's, worked into different countries, different geographies with different concepts. Now I run my own consultancy firm by the name of Prospertize, which basically provides end-to-end solutions and for the F&B industry. So we basically try to cover the pain points of the industry. So this is all about me. Yeah, basically, Vani, see, the thing is this, in the article itself, I highlight there's something called the startup cost illusion. Now, even a small QSR with let's say with a 20-25 lakh planned budget can easily overrun if you miss the hidden layers like licensing delays, like working capital shortages, or even fit out overruns. So you go into a fit out period, but for some reason it gets extended. So this is something that we really need to be aware of. And what I can see basically is that founders really get emotionally focused on just getting the restaurant open, and though the visible costs are always there on the radar. So when I say the visible cost, what I mean is the rentals, the interiors, the kitchen equipments, and they map it fully. But what happens is that, imagine that if there is a time delay, then there is no provision has been taken. If and also that, I've really seen many a times that they really completely take their eyes off from working capital. So working capital also be a part of your budgeting, wherein that that this is my opex, this is the bare minimum cost that I need to make a restaurant run on monthly basis. So that needs to be capped, and then that needs to be infused, at least for 3 to 6 months. So it will give you a cushion and a buffer to actually operate. And again, then and the last thing I would say that uh, pre-opening burn also be a part of your budgeting, where you really need to allocate some cost to your training, your marketing, and all that stuff. So this is how I think it should be done. And if you talk about financial modeling, so there has to be a realism in your capex, wherein that you should always take a budget, a buffer of 15 to 20%. So if done that way, then I think we are better prepared. I think that's a great question to have. And if you look at article, then I've mentioned it by the name of the brutality of break even. So where I'm trying to show that even with the steady sales of, let's say, 80 orders and average ticket or a AOV of 200 rupees, the margins are still very fragile. So because profitability can swing sharply with just a small drop in few orders, and then you're asking for trouble. So really, you really need to plan accordingly. So if I have to say that the biggest misconceptions that founders have, they assume that being busy is being profitable. But believe me, they are two different things, and they are completely two different things of the spectrum. So being busy does not always means being profitable. And another thing I would say that the focus on top line, they focus on top line, but they don't analyze contribution margins. So it is almost like a bucket where you have a bucket and the tap is open and water is flowing. So what happens if that there is a hole at the bottom? So whatever gets filled up will keep on leaking. So that is very important. And many forget, which is the most important point, is that though the delivery sales, they always have the highest value check, or in terms of the average order value of the delivery check is always high, but the margins are very thin. So accordingly we need to prepare. Right. Hmm. Hmm. I think how I frame it, I would say that this is the biggest pain point of the industry of last decade. And I've been working with one of the most reputed clients in UK, and wherein that the sales is not a problem, because of their brand positioning and the legacy of the brand. Now, what has happened here is that over a period of time, the revenue has got shifted from in store or dine in to towards delivery, and they never saw that coming. So eventually what has happened is the whole dynamics of unit economics have changed. Why? Because even in India, if you look at it, the aggregator fee itself is costing you nothing less than 25 to 30%, which means that every 100 rupee that you sell, 35 to 30% only goes to the aggregator, and this is not covering your food costs, your rentals, and everything. So this is one of the biggest. So I'm trying to propagate the culture where people should religiously start following a different PNL altogether for deliveries, because it has become a channel of its own. I think it is very, very important. Another thing I would say that if you look at it at the store level, we have equipments, we have heavy machineries. So it is a fixed asset, and that it really depreciates. People have really need to be aware about it, that after every 18 to 24 months, those equipment starts needing frequent maintenance. So that needs to be built in, and when your focus is not there, what will happen that it will give you a double hit. Not only that, it will be a capital intensive, but it will also hamper the quality of the food and end consumer. So these are the few things that I would like to focus on. Yes. Right. So what I see is that there is something called, excuse me, uh, virality versus visibility. What I mean is that people are entirely focused on building Instagrammable brands. So so we really need to ask that what we are looking to achieve. Is it something which is value driven or not? Now the passion is a first step of the ladder, but it is not always the last one. So I would say the problem with pure passion is that passion gets you started, but it blinds many founders to harsh financial realities. And believe me, this industry is not fintech industry. The the margins are very thin. So I mean, this is how about it. So restaurants are tiny factories, that needs to be run daily on microeconomics. And until and unless you are really not very focused about capturing and then reviewing what is happening on daily basis, you are asking for a trouble. So what happens in a restaurant, in during the operation hours, that needs to be reviewed on daily basis, on weekly basis, on periodic basis, and then based on, you really need to discuss among the team. You really have to come up with a remedial action plan. So this is how it is. For example, small little basic things. Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, for example, small. Yeah, I was just saying that for small little things like, what was the revenue today? How many guests have come in? Is there any complaint? So how was the flow of the restaurant operations today? These are the small little things. Well, what I would say is that let's start focusing towards more on sustainability, because if this business is all about following the basics. If you get the basics right, which is as mundane as having a consistent quality, as basic as that, wishing your guest every day, every time, moment he or she walks in, taking care of the end-to-end journey of a consumer moment she or he checks in, till the time they depart. So just following these basics, will get the job done. And then once you are operationally